Hello there everybody, and welcome back to my F1 22 career mode. We are now at Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last episode from Singapore, I urge you to go back and check that one out before checking this one out. This is your last chance to do so before spoilers. And speaking of spoilers, Lando Norris coming out of the pits there. I would say he spoiled my lap, but what I did here just spoiled it that bit more. But we grabbed a podium at Singapore. Can you believe that? So off the back of that, I want to try and get a great result here. But it's time to try and get out of Q1. I've got a car right behind me, and that's, I'm not going to lie, that's extremely distracting. And I just wish he would get off of my backside and let me do my lap. Clearly he thinks he can go faster though. Who is it actually? I don't dare look back. I think it's a Haas. I want to say it's a Haas. I'm not entirely sure. We'll soon find out if he comes past me on the straight. But first lap complete, and it's, well, he's pitted actually, so we don't find out who it is. But we managed to set a relatively decent lap. We're on our second lap, and Carlos Sainz is out of the session in front of me, and what? His car just seemed to come to a stop on the straight. There's the two back wheels landing. And what on earth is this? Guys, have you ever seen a glitch like this in the game before? It looks like Carlos is hooked on the bridge by something. It looks like a bit of wire has caught itself on Carlos that was dangling from the bridge. Has anyone seen that glitch before? That is the strangest thing I've ever seen on this game. And believe me, this game has had its fair share of bugs. But that's a new one. Right. Into 130R we go. And we're a tenth up already on our previous best. So that's a good sign. And we're going to come across the last corner. We gained another tenth there. So we're looking pretty good to improve. Unfortunately, it's not enough to gain position, so we're going to get one more crack at this, and we're 8 tenths up this time. And Ocon, what are you doing? Oh, Ocon's ghosting through my car. What is happening here? Well, welcome guys to the Glitch Grand Prix. I'm just going to glitch straight back through Ocon, and no, we've cut the corner there, but we're a second up. Is this going to be enough to put us into Q2? No, it is not. It is not going to be enough. And we are out of Q1 here at this Japanese Grand Prix. But it's a long race. Anything can happen. So, down but not out yet. And Carlos Sainz, well, he's still got done enough to get into Q2. Not that he'll be driving, because his car's still dangling from the bridge.
We come to you today live from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen so many title deciders through the years, some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles, the only time during the season we race on a figure-of-8 circuit. And the drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. Keep an eye out for overtakes into the final chicane. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Bottas, Fernando Alonso, and Mick Schumacher, Ocon, Albon, Tsunoda, and Kevin Magnussen. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Stroll, Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, Joker, Vettel, Sainz. They've taken a grid penalty. Nicholas Latifi and Guan Yu Zhou. Liam Lawson, Gasly. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Verstappen, Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you here with us today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings.
The formation lap gets underway, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. So as all the cars reform the grid, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring their planned strategies are all in place.
Well, qualifying got weird, but we're now lining up on the grid for this Japanese Grand Prix. Hopefully a glitch-free race, and we can make our way forwards a bit. We've gained places as well on the grid due to penalties. I feel like opportunities could present themselves in this race. However, this is one of those races where I've used some older components because this isn't necessarily a power circuit. And I feel like even though if we do end up sacrificing this race due to lack of power, we have better chance moving forward on circuits with speed such as Mexico and Abu Dhabi. But for now it's lights out and away we go here at Japan. We've got a relatively decent start, and we're going to try and not lose too many positions. However, Sainz and Vettel were able to jump us at turn one, but I'm going to go back down the inside of Sebastian Vettel, and Carlos Sainz has jumped us, so they fixed the car, and hopefully he doesn't end up getting caught on the bridge again. But for now, he's up to P14. Vettel Latifi having a look down the inside there, but that's not happening. We're now trying to close back in on the smooth operator, just while he's getting backed up by other drivers, because I've got hope that we might be able to nip a position or two, at least from this lot. Right, Perez, Sainz, right, nose to tail there as, oh, I think Carlos has hit him. I think Carlos has hit Sainz. I think Carlos has hit Perez, and we jump a couple of positions there, but we weren't able to take Ricciardo. He held his line, and we drove into the side of him there, so I think Ricciardo able to keep position. Perez having a look, but I've shut the door on him, and he might have another look down this straight here, but I'm going to try and cover him off. But it feels like an exercise in futility, because Perez is in a Red Bull, I'm in a Joe H2O car, and given that my engine components are long past their best, I feel like he might just blast past me. George Russell then leading the way at this Japanese Grand Prix. And I tell you what, throughout the course of Season 1, it is Mercedes that have really upped the ante towards the rear end of the season. And where it was a fight between Ferrari and Red Bull early on, Mercedes are the team that have turned up and are actually now right at the front here at this Japanese Grand Prix. So are Mercedes going to launch a very, very late attack into this championship? With Leclerc's lead, I find it's almost going to be impossible for them to get in, but they could get close. Right, Perez now having a look down the inside, and I decided not to fight that one off, because Perez, look how quickly he got past me. There wasn't any fighting him off. That was an inevitable overtake by the Mexican, and on he goes as we get done for corner cutting for the second time here, so I want to be careful. We do not want to end up with a penalty, and Pierre Gasly is now right behind me. He's having a look, but I'm going to cover him off. Pierre's not getting through there. He's going to have a look to the outside, but again, no way through there for the Frenchman, and Gasly having to just sit back a bit, and this is allowing Sebastian Vettel a chance at coming back at me. Currently sat in P14 then. We don't really have the pace of the guys in front, and a couple of drivers behind me are, well, quicker, but Vettel is matching my pace. So for now, I will accept that. Vettel for now matching the pace I can do, but Gasly having a look down the inside of 130R. We're going to hold him out around the outside. Gasly's got room to the outside for the chicane, but we have the inside line. Gasly turning in on me a little bit there, but not able to find a way through. and we hold on to the position just about. But all this scrapping is going to let Vettel get closer, so we don't really want to be wasting our time scrapping here. And in fact, is someone actually battling Vettel? The position looked like they were changing, I couldn't see. Anyway, fast forward to lap 12, and Max Verstappen is right behind Sebastian Vettel as we go into the hairpin there. I call it Kobayashi corner because it's where Kobayashi would just send it and gain position after position. And speaking of Kobayashi corner, it looks like Sebastian Vettel's going to make a little bit of a mistake and Max Verstappen goes through. Is Charles Leclerc going to be able to make a way through? No, his former teammate is forced to stay behind and wait it out. So it's time to make a pit stop. We have made our pit stop and it looks like we are still ahead of Verstappen and Leclerc. Unfortunately, we weren't able to jump anyone like Ocon or Tsunoda. So for now it's stalemate as we wait for the rest of the drivers, and Gasly were able to stay ahead. Gasly pitted a few laps earlier than us for the hard tyres, so we were able to overcut Gasly there, and now it's just a matter of the waiting game. Verstappen's getting held up by cold hard tyres, and that's keeping Gasly there, but Max Verstappen in the last couple of laps has now charged to catch me. He's going to go round the outside. I'm going to try and cover, but Max is already there, so I have to back out of that. Max has gone through on the straight, but if we can keep a slipstream around 130R, which is what we have done, maybe there's a chance at a dive down the inside of the chicane, and that has very much caught Max napping there as we get past the Red Bull. Max Verstappen, like I said, just caught napping there. And as we now head down the straight, Sebastian Vettel is coming out of the pits. He's going to come out of the pits in front of us though, annoyingly, but he's going to have the issue of the cold hard tyres. And that makes him so easy for us to blast past. Is Verstappen able to get through? No. And I am sending Sebastian Vettel a fruit basket because at least for a couple of laps, I've got that bit of breathing space to Supermax, who is currently stuck behind the Aston Martin. It's all cracking off here. Right, Vettel has now caught back up to me and is enjoying the hard tyres much more than we are. I'm really struggling on the hard tyres. I go to cover Vettel. Vettel goes through on the left and he's jammed on the brakes. I've gone into him. Seb, why were you braking there? I've gone wide and I've lost positions to Verstappen and Leclerc, but I do have quite bad front wing damage. Why did Vettel decide to brake at the imaginary 300 metre board there? I don't understand. That was very early on the brakes. Carlos Sainz has now got through and I've lost a heap of time, but again I'm going to maintain a bit of slipstream, try and get back past Carlos, and I'm not going to lie, that one was for pride because I've decided to pit in and take a set of soft tyres, take a new front wing, because that's a long way to drive with an old front wing damage and old hard tyres. And I was starting to catch Lawson by 2-3 seconds a lap until I do this. Just hit the curb, pushing too hard, and round it goes. So at that point, I just settle down and wait for the race to finish. Right, Lewis Hamilton going down the inside of 130R and his teammate George Russell. The Mercedes are side by side as we come into the chicane. This is for the lead. Lewis now on the inside of the chicane and George Russell is now on the inside for this little right kink. The Mercedes side by side down the pit straight for the lead. Lewis is trying to go for it. George will not give it up. Russell has the inside line for turn 1 and Lewis will just have to wait. He will have to find another opportunity. But Hamilton really wanting this Grand Prix victory here as he gets ever closer at the end of Sector 1. He's going to go down the inside of one of the Degners. We do not see overtakes there. Russell's gone wide and Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. What a battle between the two Mercedes. And I think Lewis is now just going to drive away from George. But we're now on our last lap because, as you can see from the first shot there, we were dead ahead of the two Mercedes and I'm letting Lewis lap me. But it's a bit of a tough day at the office again for us. We were looking at racing Vettel, Verstappen and Leclerc potentially for P14, but eventually we took that damage and that ended up being quite costly for our race. I'm so sorry it's not a better result, guys. I'm so sorry, but it happens sometimes. Just got to kick something and move on to the next one. Lewis Hamilton is the winner of the Japanese Grand Prix.
They've done it then. Here at Suzuka, a brilliant win on the beloved figure of 8 circuit. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Well, that's a race to forget for us. It's P21 and perhaps the worst race we've had yet. But the Mercedes giving us a great battle for the lead there and providing entertainment value. Leclerc's lead is cut down just a little bit, but let's have a look at the results. Norris makes up the podium, then it's Alonso, Bottas, Schumacher, Albon in 7th for Williams, a superb drive by him, followed by Magnussen, Perez and Stroll rounding out the top 10. But get Alex Albon in the Williams in P7, that is incredible. We're seeing a lot this season, some very jumbled finishes towards the end of races. But Leclerc's lead, it has been cut down by Russell, but Lewis Hamilton costing him crucial points there. And I do still feel like Leclerc has one hand on this title. Verstappen is third in the standings, Hamilton fourth, then it's Perez, Sainz, Norris, Alonso, Bottas and myself rounding out the top 10. On a very decent 48 points. I am still hoping we can add to that and still get another good handful of points. And in the constructors we are maintaining 8th, which is perfectly fine. But Williams are now the team worrying me because they seem to be sneaking in some really good results. Well, thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and hit the subscribe button if you're new here and want to see more content from me. Until the next time, TTFN guys, ta-ta for now.